Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Frank Granito, and joining me in studio today for this Tuesday episode is my co-host Donald Eng. Don, how are you doing?
Well, how could it not be great? It's a glorious day out there, warm weather, low humidity. It's just a great day. I would just wish, the only thing I'm really missing is like a baseball game on the radio to listen to while I'm driving. Other than that, can't really complain excessively.
I can't disagree with that at all. It is absolutely beautiful out today, and things are a little slow out there right now, Don. But it's, this time next week we'll be looking at preseason camps starting up. The teams will be getting ready to start the training camps and their preseasons. They get ready for that. But before we get to the high school preseason, we do have plenty of local athletes that are still in their championship season for summer sports. So let's take a look at some of them.
Right. We get started down in Florida. The Cal Ripken World Series. The Norwalk 10-year-old All-Stars have posted another huge win in the preliminary rounds of the tournament. They beat Bryant, Arkansas 13-3 to improve their record to 2-1. After being ruled for the first time run-ruled for the first time in their careers against Poughkeepsie, New York in their opening game, the Norwalk All-Stars have flipped the script on its last two opponents, first taking down Mineral Area, Missouri 12-0, and then yesterday beating Bryant, Arkansas 13-3. They were led by the top four hitters in their lineup, a combined 8 for 11 at the plate with 7 RBIs. Norwalk once again is looking like the team that cruised from districts through the regionals with the win. Norwalk qualified for the championship bracket, which will start on Wednesday. Norwalk will conclude the preliminary games today as they play host Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, to determine the 2 or 3 seeds for the American division in the playoffs. Poughkeepsie has locked up the number 1 seed with their record of 3-0, 3 dominant wins, by the way, for Poughkeepsie. We will follow the Norwalk team all the way through the tournament, so make sure you're tuning in daily for updates.
And the big thing for Norwalk right now, they'll probably have to see Poughkeepsie again. It won't be until round 2 or 3 of that championship tournament, though. They'll get matched up now with someone from the national division. And I think Poughkeepsie is probably the best team in the tournament right now. Norwalk is not that far off, though.
No, I mean, honestly, I would look at that loss to Poughkeepsie as sort of the anomaly, and that was the outlier. If I had to choose, I'd probably say Poughkeepsie probably is a marginally better team, but not 10 runs better. So, and of course, obviously in tournament play, you want that 2 seed. You want to avoid playing the top team for as long as you possibly can.
Yes, and so the way the tournament is set up, the top 3 teams from each division will qualify for the championship bracket. The 2 number 1 seeds earn themselves a bye. 2 plays 3 from each division and vice versa. The big thing too, Don, that Norwalk loss they made 4 errors in the first 3 innings, walked 6 batters. They made less errors and walked a total of 6 batters in the whole regional tournament. So we're starting to see them take form again, and similar to our next story here, you're going to find that when you get your back pushed against the wall, maybe you start to play your best.
Well, not only that, also, but you kind of look at it, as I was saying earlier, as an anomaly. They played spectacular defense all the way through the regionals and the districts, but then you get 1 error, and kind of errors tend to lead to one another, particularly when you're talking about 10-year-olds. So a little bit of butterflies, big stage jitters. You would presume by now that now they're just playing baseball. They've been doing it all summer.
And so that's good luck to them. We'll stay with that tournament, and we follow them on their pursuit towards a World Series championship. In the Little League Baseball New England Regional Tournament, Fairfield American knows who their next opponent is and is ready to stave off elimination. Following Monday's 5-2 loss against Rhode Island, Scarborough, Maine now finds themselves in the losers bracket, matched up against Fairfield American. Fairfield lost its opening round game of the tournament against Bedford, New Hampshire, by a score of 7-1. Interestingly, after winning the coin toss, Fairfield manager Brian Grady elected to be the visiting team in hopes of scoring first. Grady said, "We won the toss yesterday and chose visitor. We like being the visitor and setting the tone." The 3 other teams that won the coin toss on Sunday chose to be the home team and won all of their games. Despite the loss, Grady still seems confident in his team, who was undefeated coming into the regional tournament. This is what Rhode Island did last year. They lost their game and they advanced to the World Series from there, said Grady. So Don, now with their backs against the wall, knowing their next loss will send them home, Fairfield must find a way to get back to their winning ways. Sometimes you get a little bit of a wake-up call and you come back and fight like crazy. And from there, you do your best, as the manager put it. Fairfield and Maine will play tonight at 7 p.m. up in Bristol at Breen Field. That game can be seen in its entirety on the Watch ESPN app. Don, it's a great mindset. It's a great attitude from the coach. How can he translate it to his players, though?
Well, I think it's just a matter of just aggression. What he's essentially sending the message is that that he believes that he believes in his players. He believes they're going to come out and put some numbers on the board in the early innings. Particularly, there's nothing better for if you're a visiting team. Get 2 or 3 on the board before the other team even has a chance to settle into the dugout. So that's clearly what he's trying to do. The problem with that is if you don't come through in the first inning, then you're kind of playing at a bit of a disadvantage for the whole rest of the game. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I probably would have opted to be the home team myself, but I can see where he's coming from. Particularly, again, dealing with youth baseball. Anything can happen.
And it's true. They said they had played a lot as the away team this year. They were very confident in their bats. They had gotten out to big leads early, and it was part of the reason they were undefeated coming in. Now you look at this game, they go scoreless in the first, allow a couple errors, and there's a 4-run deficit now when you're heading to the third inning. That's very tough on a group of 12-year-old kids playing up. You're playing up in Bristol now against a very talented Bedford team as well. It was a tough draw from the start. But now you find yourselves in that position of, okay, lose or go home. Whereas we talked about that Norwalk team, Norwalk can lose another game right now, and they still get to play on. Fairfield has got a lot more pressure on them, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, and especially against a Maine team that will be in the same situation as them.
Yeah, and isn't it strange? I mean, it's in a baseball game, you're going to get the same number of at bats, regardless. You play, in this case, the 12-year-olds. You're playing 6 innings, but it's just psychologically that having that last up just seems like it's such a big psychological advantage. But again, getting some runs on the board early in the game is a similar thing. Just kind of just take control of the game early, and put your faith in your defense.
It's a very talented Fairfield team. They were my pick to qualify for the World Series at Williamsport coming out of this New England Regional. I stand by that pick. I do think they can make a run, but they've got to play perfect baseball now moving forward. Bedford, New Hampshire is very good. The Rhode Island team is very, very good, and this will be a tough Maine matchup tonight.
And a little insider information here. When Frank Granito makes a pick for Little League World Series, you really should listen to him. I know I do.
So moving on from the Little League World Series now, we head to the older divisions in Stamford. They're not playing regional baseball right now, but they had a local tournament, Don. That's the Sharkey Lorena Memorial Baseball Tournament. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Right. Well, in the semifinals for the 14 and under division, they are underway right now. The Norwalk Revolution have been eliminated, falling at the hands of the Diamond Buddies Hawks from Westchester County, New York, by a score of 3-2. Norwalk was trailing 2-0 after 3 innings, able to tie the game in the top of the 4th, but didn't do much to help their cause early on, committing 4 errors in the first 3 innings that allowed the Diamond Buddies to jump out to the early lead. Nick Cernecchia was dominant on the mound, his only blemish being the 2 runs he allowed in the 4th. Cernecchia retired 10 of the last 12 Norwalk batters he faced. The Diamond Buddies will now play in the tournament's championship game against the winner of the Stamford Kalo versus the Stamford Piersa semifinal. The second semifinal game will be played tonight at Cubetta Stadium. First pitch scheduled for 5:30.
And Don, before we break down that Norwalk game, have you heard of a better travel team name than the Diamond Buddies?
I have not, actually. I mean, I suppose if I were to scan the sheets, I could probably find one, but that did stick out in my head. The only other one that I remember was the Greenwich Legion, the Cannons. I kind of like that one too. So that's but Diamond Buddies, that is good.
And so the Diamond Buddies, they advance on. They're from Westchester, the only New York team left in tournament play. We now have 2 Stamford teams that will face off in tonight's semifinal game. Norwalk shoots themselves in the foot a little bit, Don, and they're out of the tournament now. One of these Stamford teams should be able to hold on and beat this Westchester team. But I want to switch gears here. So much of this show, when I first got on, and towards the end of the fall or the end of the spring season, we focused on the Darien lacrosse team, how elite they'd been playing, where they finishing the season, number 2 in the entire nation. You look at what Connecticut baseball is doing right now. One all-star team from Norwalk playing down in the World Series, another one in the regionals. We had several of the older Legion teams that qualified for the regionals. Is baseball still that far behind how good we're playing lacrosse right now?
I wouldn't say that I think baseball is behind. I tend to think that it's almost like 2 different populations. Like, I don't know that kids that would have played baseball are now playing lacrosse instead. I just tend to think it becomes a matter of what they signed up for, or what they expressed an interest in at an earlier age. So I mean, there's no reason, for example, like with some of the schools that we cover also, there's no reason why your football team and your soccer team both can't have great seasons, because you're really talking about a different kid that's playing left tackle versus a kid that's playing forward on the soccer team. So, it doesn't really surprise me at all. I've always thought that Connecticut was a little bit underrated as far as athletically goes, but it is great to see the lacrosse and baseball both doing well.
And of course, lacrosse is going to be so successful. Fairfield County, one of the hotbeds throughout the country where a lot of the top talent will come from. Baseball-wise, Fairfield County has struggled a little bit, at least against the rest of the state. With a lot of these kids up and coming, we've seen a lot of the players who are returning have committed to big-time schools. Do you think that this could be the year one of these FCX schools is able to break through and win a state championship?
Well, it's always possible. I mean, we're kind of a year away, and at that age, there's a lot of development that takes place in many cases between their freshman and sophomore and junior years. I was impressed with the state of FCX baseball this year. There were a lot of good teams, particularly Darien but it's so hard to project a year forward. In fact, when you're dealing with high school athletes, it's hard to project how your team's going to be in 3 hours versus a year. But I think they'll be right there in the mix like they usually are.
And it's a good point too. I thought the FCX did have a very successful year. I think they actually ended up beating themselves up a little bit too much, not only in the FCX tournament, but then in those early rounds of states they get matched up against each other. Trumbull-Darien rematch in the second round of the state tournament, that was a travesty. That was just unfortunate that that's the way the draw comes out, and we don't get to see them again later, because that was one of the best FCX championship games I've seen. And you also have the Trumbull-Ward FCX semifinal game, which was just as good. Well,
it was, and also the other thing is the FCX gets a bit of a tough break because the good teams in the division are all in Class AA. So when you have an Amity team that four-peats. So I mean, what are you going to do? It's almost like if you're an Olympic runner now, Usain Bolt happens to be running at the same time you are. What are you going to do? That's just a tough break.
And we talk about the Olympic dominance. You could say the same thing for swimming right now, or for swimming for the past two generations, right, of how you can't escape Michael Phelps, who continues to dominate as he continues to rack up the gold medals. Now you've got Katie Ledecky for the U.S. as she's doing really well. And that is a good point for us to transition. We will take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. When we get back, Don and I will head for the pool and we'll talk some local swimming and diving right here on the HAN Network.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning.
Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Donald Eng joining me in studio today for this Tuesday episode as we shift gears now and we head over to the pools with some local swimmers and divers who have been having fantastic summers, including 2 members of the Wilton Wise Wahoo swim team who had performances to remember at the 2016 YMCA Long Course National Championships.
I totally misheard that. You meant it was the Wilton YMCA. I heard Wise like an owl, and I was thinking to myself, see, there's another great travel team name. That's
Wilton
Wise.
Diamond Buddies. That would be a very good one, the Wilton Wise, yes.
Wilton Wise Wahoo.
Yes. So Jake Keeley, a rising senior from Fairfield Prep, and Robbie Giller, a rising senior at Wilton, both won national championships in Indianapolis last week. Keeley was crowned the national champion in the 200-meter backstroke and also finished 3rd in the 100-meter backstroke and 4th in the 200-meter individual medley. Jake's time of 2:04.81 was more than 2 seconds faster than his closest competitor, and it was only about a second off of the 2016 Olympic trials qualifying time. Robbie Giller, who was coming off a disappointing performance at the 2016 Short Course National Championships in April, had a bounce-back effort for the ages. Giller became a 2-time national champion after winning the 400 individual medley. He also won the 800-meter freestyle race last summer. Robbie had 3 other top 5 finishes, taking 3rd in both the 1500 and 800-meter freestyle events and 5th in the 400-meter freestyle. For the 2nd straight year, he was a part of the Wilton YMCA Wahoos, winning 800-meter freestyle relay team and swam on 3 other relays that finished in the top 5. Giller won the 400-meter individual medley in dominating fashion, beating his closest competitor by more than 9 seconds, Don. And he also just missed the YMCA national record by 0.12 of a second, finishing at 4:26.69. First of all, we were talking about in between the break how badly Katie Ledecky won her race the other night. That is a performance of Ledecky-esque. It was incredible.
A 9-second win in a race that's over in about 4 minutes. That's what sailors call a horizon job. You know, you finish the race, climb out of the pool, and then you watch everyone else coming in. That is a dominant win. And and just missing the YMCA national record, and particularly with these guys being in their youth, again, we're going to get to watch them develop in their athletic careers, and that's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to.
We'll get to see Giller swim next year. We do have a couple swim meets targeted for the HAN fall winter season. That'll be for the boys, the girls in the spring, or the winter, girls in the fall, boys in the winter, excuse me. But you look at Keeley out of Fairfield Prep too. It's very cool that he comes back. He is from Wilton, swims on that team, and it's a very, very talented team, loaded from top to bottom with a lot of players from around the area.
Yeah, it really is, and as we've said earlier, that with the great tradition of swimming at Greenwich High School, let's see if anybody can actually take the competition to them this year. We have a couple of great swimmers who could lead their respective teams. We'll see how that works out. But in other swimming news, Norwalk High's Kevin Bradley, currently in the midst of the run for a national championship, he is competing at the AT&T USA Diving National Championships in both the 1-meter and 3-meter springboard events in Moultrie, Georgia. Brady was a member of the Class LL state champ Norwalk team this past season, and he is also swimming for the New Canaan YMCA's Whirlwind Dive Club in the 14-15-year-old division. More than 600 divers from around the country are vying for top honors in each of 4 age groups. The semifinal round includes the top 24 divers in the country and then narrows to 12 divers in each group competing in the finals. The finals will begin next week, and we're going to keep an eye on Kevin as he continues on competing in the national championships there for New Canaan.
And we talked about diving while we're still, tackling with the Olympics now. The synchronized diving team last night taking a silver medal home, which was awesome for them. They lost out to Great Britain. But all 3 of these guys, and it's very important and necessary, you can say this now, have Olympic aspirations. They all hope to compete at the D1 level starting in the next few years. Kevin is actually just only a sophomore at Norwalk. He'll be very, very good next year. We'll hope to lead that team to another state championship. We've now seen there are 4 players from Fairfield County who are competing in the Olympics this year. There are so many more who could be competing. What is it about this area that, especially for swimming in these type of summer events, that we produce this type of talent?
Well, I think just because it is Fairfield County, a lot of the kids, get involved in swimming at an earlier age. I mean, it's just, it's something that parents encourage them with. They get high level instruction, and that just kind of carries throughout their athletic career. It's no coincidence that Texas produces enough football players to support 11 Division I college football programs, and in Connecticut you see the same thing with some of the swimming and diving, golf and tennis. What we would think of as Connecticut sports, and lacrosse, things like that. A lot of the sports that just have a strong regional tie-in. The kids compete at a high level, and that competition and high-level competition carries over into their further careers.
And it does show clearly as they can go off consistently and compete against the nation's best and have the type of success that we are seeing from all of these athletes. And we also, of course, we have to mention the crew team finished second in their semifinal race yesterday. The winds are down low enough so they're able to continue racing crew through this week. It's very great to see. It's a strong state of Connecticut athletics right now, especially for those sports that you don't normally think about as being big-time sports.
Right, and also, it's fun because it encourages a lot of the youths that are competing in the youth leagues. At these local YMCA's. You take. I for many years took my daughter to the YMCA for swimming lessons and things like that. And it's really fun for me. It's exciting for her that these people going to the Olympics are just like that. They started off swimming in YMCA pools. So that's a lot of fun. It's one of the great things about the Olympics.
It is. So we wish the best of luck to all of our Olympic athletes who are still out there competing. Congratulations to the Wilton Wahoos who had a tremendous summer. Good luck to Kevin diving down in Georgia. We will take one more break here on the HAN Network, but when Don and I get back, we shift gears. We look a little bit at some of the professional athletics that have been going on in the Connecticut area right here on the HAN Network.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor, I'm a high school football coach, I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Donald Eng in studio today as we shift gears now and we move over towards some of the professional events that have been going on in Connecticut. And Don, let's start with the Bridgeport Bluefish right now, who are getting hot at the best time they possibly could.
They really are. The Bridgeport Bluefish improved to 17-13 in the second half of the season, 47-53 overall. But the important thing is 17-13 in the season's second half. They beat the Long Island Ducks 2 out of 3 at the ballpark at Harbor Yard over the weekend. And they have moved into a first-place tie with the Ducks in the Liberty Division standings second half. Starting pitcher Jonathan Albadejo earned the win, pitching 7 innings, allowing 1 run on 6 hits, striking out 9, not walking a batter. He did throw a pair of wild pitches and hit a batter, but he didn't walk anybody. The Liberty Division All-Stars added to his Atlantic League totals in wins with his 11th team-leading 11th win in 20 appearances this year. Bridgeport has an overall record of 15-5. And we were talking about the tie-ins to local kids and the Olympics, and even in Little League. Viewers might not know that Sean Burrows, the hero of the 1993 Little League World Series, has signed with the Bluefish. He had a career 278 hitter in the major leagues. He threw 2 no-hitters in the 1993 Little League World Series. He also is a 2000 Olympian, so he won a gold medal on that 2000 Olympic team, beating South Korea there in the finals. So definitely some star power there down at the ballpark at Harbor Yard, and it's going to get even more star-studded September 2nd. Just staying with the Bluefish here, the Bridgeport Bluefish have announced that former NWO members Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Sean Waltman will be the next group to guest manage the team on Friday, September 2nd, as the Fish take on the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. NWO will throw out the ceremonial first pitches, I'm assuming, and participate in a pregame meet and greet with the fans. And following the game, a micro wrestling showcase will be held in the Two Roads Beer Gardens. So it's another fun event with the Bluefish, with the guest managers. They're kind of going for, we said yesterday, for with Roger Clemens, Pete Rose, and now NWO. Really bringing a new audience to Bridgeport Bluefish baseball.
And we missed the Roger Clemens game, so we're not going to be able to miss that one. That'll be a mandatory staff trip that day. So we're not going to miss NWO. The Bluefish will continue their 9-game homestand tonight when the Sugar Land Skeeters travel to Bridgeport. First pitch is set for 7:12. Shifting gears to the golf course now, the PGA's annual Travelers Championship was held this past weekend in Cromwell, and there are 2 players who need to be congratulated. First, obviously, is the champion Russell Knox, who won his second career tournament with a final score of 14 under par. Knox's only previous win on tour came back in 2015 at a tournament in Mexico. He secured his second victory on Sunday by sinking a 12-foot putt on hole 18 after saving himself from the bunker to clinch a one-shot win over University of Hartford product Jerry Kelly. Justin Thomas, Patrick Rogers tied for third, 2 shots behind Knox, and 4 others were tied for fifth, another shot back, including third-round leader Daniel Berger. And also in that group that was tied for fifth was Jim Furyk, Don, who was probably the best story of the day. Furyk scored a PGA record 58, 12 under par, the lowest score in the history of a professional golf tournament, as we had 4 who had previously shot 59. Furyk started the third round at 1 over par and was a part of the third group of players to head out Sunday morning. 4 hours later, and Furyk was the new record holder for the low score and the only golfer in PGA history now who has shot under 60 twice in his career. Furyk had 12 birdies on the day, shot 27 on the front 9.
Not bad for a 46-year-old man, huh?
It's an unbelievable tournament. The course is incredible up there in Cromwell. I had a couple of my old college teammates who were at the event and ended up following Jim Furyk around. They said the place was electric. It was like nothing they'd ever heard, and this was the 4th year they've gone to this championship. Jim Furyk is an incredible golfer. I think it's crazy that he's only won 1 major in his entire career, and so many people will say it was because of that bizarre swing. But I got to watch the highlights when I got back home, and it was great.
Yeah, he's had a great career. He hasn't won the number of majors that people might have thought. A lot of that, as we said earlier, because much of his career coincided with the Tiger Woods era and things like that. When one guy wins all those tournaments, that's just the way it's going to happen. But hey, he's 46 years old, same age Jack Nicklaus was when he won his final major. So you never know.
Absolutely never know. And again, congrats to Russell Knox. He actually, after winning his first tournament in Mexico, came back the next week with a chance to win a tournament and had about the same length of a putt that he had to make to avoid going to a playoff. That first time he misses the putt, goes to the playoff, and loses there. And he was saying how when he stood over that putt on 18, he was thinking about it. He left one on the lip of 17, had a terrible drive on 18, puts it in the bunker, did a great job to save par and win that tournament. So congrats to both of those guys, as it's a great experience every year. And if you haven't been to it, definitely get up to Cromwell for the Travelers Championship.
Yeah, no, I've never been up there. I'm planning to one of these years because it's not that far away, and it's just something that's always interesting because we focus a lot on team sports, but individual sports like golf, when it's just you by yourself, or essentially you playing against the course, not even so much the other golfers. It's always a very fascinating aspect of golf, I've always thought.
It is, and it brings out all the big names, so it's really a blast and fun part to be a part of. In case you missed it, yesterday on Nutmeg Sports, we announced the first month of our fall broadcast schedule for the HAN Network. We are excited to say that we'll be covering 15 games at 10 different schools for 5 different sports over the first 22 days of the fall season. The HAN's first stop will be on September 9th at Tiger Hollow Stadium on the campus of Ridgefield High School when Trumbull travels down to take on Ridgefield in football. For more information on the fall broadcast schedule, you can watch the Monday, August 8th episode of Nutmeg Sports at HAN.network in the on-demand section. Don, we do have one shout-out to give here before we jump off the air. We want to congratulate Dave Schultz, the new commissioner of the FCIAC. He's also a new grandfather.
I did not know that. New grandfather. Yes. All right. Well, congratulations.
His daughter just had their first child. Everyone is healthy and doing well. We're very happy for him. Congratulations again. That's going to do it for this episode. Any final thoughts?
Sorry, I was just Googling tickets for the NWO game there, so I'll be on that right afterwards.
Eric wants one. Kate needs one too. That's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll be back. I'll be with Dave Stewart as Don gets the day off. Coffee break with Kate Chaplensky at 11 a.m. We'll see you later.